Welcome. This is the Pulse here on Joy News. My name is Elton Brob, and of course, we are live on X Spaces, on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course, on myjoyonline.com. This is an interactive program, so join us with your comments as we delve into the many issues confronting the nation this very afternoon. And we've got less than 24 hours after his release from the Yoko custody. The MPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Benedict Chibo-Esiakon, also known as Wontumi, stormed the party headquarters in Accra this afternoon to a hero's welcome from enthusiastic supporters, while the exact reason for his visit remained unclear. Joining sources indicates that he went there, among others, to express his profound appreciation to the party for the solidarity shown during his detention. My colleague Kenneth Jassi is just returning from the MPP headquarters and joins me in the studio. So, Kenneth, was this something like a welcome party there?
It really wasn't. Chairman Wontumi went to the party national headquarters around 11 a.m. this morning from where he's lodging at Alisa Hotel, just basically to thank the party supporters and also to thank the General Secretary, in particular, Justin Kodia Frimpong, who has been front and center of this particular matter. As I mentioned earlier, when he went around 11 a.m., he did not speak to the media, obviously, but he entered into the MPP building, had a few chats. We don't know exactly what was discussed there, but when he came out, he shared some brief words with the General Secretary, amidst some enthusiastic supporters. He told the General Secretary, in particular, that he's very grateful for the support that he's given him during his time in custody, and also did indicate that he will be back, but we do not know as to when he will return there. But we are getting the indication that he also will be returning to the Ashanti region very soon. So basically, that's what happened at the national headquarters today.
So we have seen pictures and videos of him before and after his release from Yoko. Yesterday when he was getting out, he appears not to be able to walk and walk properly. What kind of person did you see in Wontumi today?
Well, it was a stark contrast between the person that we saw yesterday and the person that we saw today. Yesterday, for instance, we saw that he was aided by the General Secretary of the MPP, Justin Kodia Frimpong, and also at a point we also saw Esitifi MP, Brian Echampo, also helping him at a point. But today, he walked unaided, although we saw him shaking his leg. I don't know why he was shaking his leg, perhaps an indication that he's fitter today than he was yesterday. So if you look at the images that came out yesterday and the person that we saw today, there's a bit of a change. He looks much fitter today. He was walking unaided. He looks stronger today than he looked yesterday. So, we saw a much fitter Wontumi today, although not the normal Wontumi that you see very cheerful, although there were glimpses of that cheerfulness we saw today, but it was a stark contrast between what we saw yesterday when he appeared very frail, very fragile. He looked a bit stronger today compared to the person that we saw yesterday.
And then I remember on the day that he was first, when he first appeared before the CID, you went there to cover.
I did.
And we have videos of how he arrived at the CID headquarters in a Bentley, 2025 registered Bentley. And Bentley is quite an expensive vehicle. And I know Mr. Wontumi into exotic vehicles and all that. And then the next day when he again went to the CID headquarters and was picked by Yoko, he was driving a Lamborghini, a sports vehicle, also very expensive. Today at the party headquarters, he was seated at the back of a Yaris. I'm wondering what has happened in the last few days.
Well, I did not see his arrival when he came, so I really can't tell the kind of vehicle that he brought to the place. And of course, there was a bit of a convoy that came, so you can't really tell which of them belonged to him.
But when he was leaving, he was seated at the back of a, I don't know whether it's a Yango or
there's been some changes. Things have changed from that time till now. So perhaps he's trying to present a modest, persona compared to the person that we saw the first day. As you rightly mentioned, on the first day, he came in his Bentley, white and I think yellow, black and yellow Bentley 2025 registered. All in this white apparel, but perhaps today he wanted to appear modest because there were questions and concerns. People actually raised these concerns.
Yeah, because he was crying for help. He was asking people to come to his aid.
Exactly.
And the comments I saw on Facebook, some saying that you are driving in a Bentley and asking me who haven't had anything to eat today to come and solidarize with you. And today, appears to have toned down.
Yeah. So people were actually making those statements, as you rightly mentioned. The next day, I think he went with a Chevrolet or something like that, a very expensive sports vehicle, and people were saying that you are appealing for support and you are appearing so, boastful and all that. So perhaps he might have taken a cue or two from that and decided to appear a bit modest today when he appeared at the MPP headquarters. But he has since returned to his base at the Alisa hotel where he's lodging whenever he's in Accra. And as I mentioned earlier, he will be going to Kumasi. We don't know whether it's going to be today or the following day, but we understand that he'll be making his way back to his home region of Kumasi in the Ashanti region.
We'll leave it here for now. Kenneth, thank you so much for coming through. And what we are learning also that the MPP leadership are making their way to Parliament. It's unclear exactly what they will be doing there, but they are going there together with the MPP Ashanti Regional Chairman, Benedict Jubu-Esiako. And we are told that they will hold a major news conference to tell us exactly what they make of the 6 days incarceration of Mr. Wontumi in Yoko's custody. So the leadership of the party led by the General Secretary will team up with the minority side in Parliament, and then together with Wontumi, they will be making some comments on that particular matter. We'll have our cameras there. When that feed is ready and they're ready to speak, we'll take you live to Parliament to bring you the very latest on this particular matter. But your comments here are welcome here on X Spaces, on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course on myjoyonline.com. Let's stay with the matters relating to arrest and detention, because as the Office of the Special Prosecutor prepares to issue a red alert for former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, fresh documents from the Mayo Clinic obtained by journalists confirmed that he is indeed currently undergoing treatment for prostate cancer. The Special Prosecutor yesterday reactivated Mr. Ofori-Atta's name on the wanted list after his lawyers failed to produce him for interrogation by the agreed June 2nd deadline. That was yesterday. Now, facing multiple corruption allegations, including those linked to the National Cathedral, Mr. Ofori-Atta has informed the Special Prosecutor's Office that he required more time at the Mayo Clinic for surgery scheduled for June 13. However, Special Prosecutor Kise Jabem says no medical evidence has been provided to confirm that Mr. Ofori-Atta is indeed cannot travel to Accra.
Further, the OSP has declined Mr. Ofori-Atta's invitation to view his biopsy report, as we consider it a pointless exercise. This is because it is common learning that the biopsy report contains nothing more than a conclusion upon the removal and examination of tissue, cells, or fluids from a living body that some disease or malady was indicated in the samples taken. A biopsy report is not an expression of a reasoned medical opinion that the subject of the report is an invalid and unable to travel, as Mr. Ofori-Atta seeks to suggest is his condition, and for which reason he says he cannot return to the jurisdiction. This much is clear. Since 24 January 2025 till date, Mr. Ofori-Atta has failed to show any medical report. I underline, he has failed to show any medical report which suggests that he is a travel risk and unable to return to the jurisdiction by reason of his medical condition.
This is a matter that is developing. Now, Joy News has cited details of the said medical letter explaining reasons for which Mr. Ofori-Atta is unable to travel to Ghana to appear before the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And this is what is in circulation. Is coming from the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota in the United States of America, and it reads that I'm writing to inform you that Mr. Ofori-Atta has undergone an MRI guided session and has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. A surgical intervention has been deemed necessary after the testing and MRI and biopsy procedure in March 2025. As I indicated in my February letter, the surgical procedure has been scheduled for June 13 with Dr. Paras Shah of the Department of Urology and there's an attached letter which we don't have. And the letter says that it is hoped that a closer date may open up. Now, following the procedure, Mr. Ofori-Atta will require a recovery period before he's able to travel to his home country. That's very instructive to note. Until he is recovered, he cannot travel to Ghana. Now, the letter ends by saying, please feel free to contact me if you require any additional information or have further questions. Best regards, Ahmed Abdurrahman, and he's a section of international medicine in Rochester, Mayo Clinic, Rochester, Minnesota. And this is a letter that came into circulation today. Now, former presidential advisor on health, Dr. Nsia Asare, believed the OSP should prioritize reaching out to the Mayo Clinic or the Ghana Embassy for more detailed information on this matter.
A report from Mayo Clinic.
Yes, yes.
Mayo Clinic letterhead, signed and stamped by the attending physician. I think that should be enough.
Right.
If he thinks that he has a problem with it as a special prosecutor, he should just take a phone or use the Ghana Embassy in the U.S. to cross-check for him from Mayo Clinic. It's as simple as that.
Well, in a situation like this, I mean, there's been the concern that could Mr. Ofori-Atta at least, with some form of, coordination between Ghana and the U.S., transfer his treatment here to the capital so that he can be treated here equally. I mean, can this case not receive equal care here in Ghana?
But he's being treated already over there. So why should he be transferred here to receive his treatment?
Well, as a result of the situation ongoing, at least, so he's here and then he can attend also to the interrogation by the OSP.
So if Mr. Ofori-Atta was your father or your uncle or somebody, will you give this advice? I'm just asking.
We're just trying to understand the situation. I mean, if it is possible that some form of coordination can be done so that treatment can be given him here.
It's already been under management at Mayo Clinic. So that should be. And if anybody has any problems of it, he should deal with the doctors who are there to find out if he's fit to travel. The doctor should be able to tell the special prosecutor. If he's not fit to travel and there's other means of interrogating him, it can be done. So now with the digital world that we are in, you can easily interrogate anybody by Zoom. You can do interviews by Zoom and all sorts of things by Zoom so that you can talk to the person. If there's any documentation, his lawyers are here, and I'm sure he will pass through his lawyers to give to them. But if somebody is sick, first and foremost, it's important to manage the person properly. As a doctor, that's what if he's my doctor, that's what I would advise him to do.
Well, lawyers for Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta says the special prosecutor lacks the technical expertise to determine if the medical letter contains sufficient grounds for his inability to travel. Frank Davis says Kisi Ejabin ought to focus on his legal pursuit instead.
Just say this to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, that he should stick to his core duties as a special prosecutor and as a trained lawyer. I don't know when he became a medical practitioner to be giving interpretations to biopsy tests and all that he said. He's a legal practitioner. He should stick to his core duties.
Well, what we're going to do is that, so the OSP yesterday issued a wanted list, updated this wanted list. The person leading this wanted list page, of course, is the former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, who is now, we don't know, because even according to the OSP, they are giving multiple locations as to where Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta might be. We'll also bring you the OSP's response to this medical correspondence in circulation, given indication that Mr. Ofori-Atta has been diagnosed with prostate cancer and will have to undergo surgery. and then his recovery and return to Ghana, the return to Ghana will depend on his recovery. So there's no timeline as to when his recovery will end so that he can come to Ghana. The OSP has a public notice on this matter. We'll share that with you pretty shortly. But it's a perfect moment to bring in our lead researcher, Isaac Kofi-Adjei, who has been digging deep into the current whereabouts of the former finance minister, at least where that's what everybody is asking. So let me bring in Kofi. So Kofi, do we know where Mr. Ofori-Atta is as we speak?
Well, Elton, I mean, even the Office of the Special Prosecutor is unsure the exact location of the former finance minister. They have actually given 6 possible locations of the former finance minister, and that includes the United States prime location. There's also Guyana. There is also the Cayman Islands. We have South Africa actually on that list.
It's actually Hong Kong.
Hong Kong
and the
also.
United Kingdom.
So 6
So Ofori-Atta appears to be everywhere.
Well, if we are to read from the notice that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has actually put out, 6 possible locations where they will be looking for the former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta. But what we are going to do this afternoon is to take you to the prime location where Ken Ofori-Atta is supposed to be on the 13th of June, 2025. That is some few days to come. Where is he supposed to be? 10 days ahead. Where he's supposed to be, according to the letter that we have cited, actually signed by, Mayo Clinic. And we go to the smart wall right now, and I'm going to take you through where he is supposed to be for that surgery, for you to understand the whole, possible location thing that we are trying to do. So let's go to Mayo Clinic, which is somewhere in Rochester, New York. So the exact, address that was put on the letter is where we are taking you to. So this is actually the clinic, and this is the prime location where he's supposed to be on the 13th of June. Let's try and do some 3D analysis for you to understand what we are trying to put across. And if you zoom into the Mayo Clinic and try to do a 3D analysis, what you see is that this is where they expect the former finance minister to be for his surgery that he has actually booked on the 13th of June. So if you are looking for a prime location where he will be in the next 10 days, per the letter that we have actually cited, he is booked for a medical, a surgery on the 13th here at the Mayo Clinic, somewhere Rochester in New York. And so this is what we've been gathering so far. And in fact, we're also trying to understand with the Mayo Clinic, it's not just in the US, there are 15 different representative offices scattered across, the world where, you can have a Mayo Clinic. And so that is the name of the hospital. But per the letter, what we are saying is in Rochester, somewhere, Minnesota. But we also understand that there are also 15 possible Mayo Clinic locations where Ken Ofori-Atta could be. But the prime location still remains here. Mayo Clinic, somewhere in Rochester, Minnesota.
At least according to the letter that
yes, we have cited,
is indicating when you undergo the surgery. But does it indicate where exactly that surgery will take place?
Well, that's supposed to be in Rochester, so definitely in the U.S., right? But what we also understand is that the letter that we have cited states that until the former finance minister, recovers from the, programmed surgery, he will not be able to return to the jurisdiction. And that was very instructive in the letter that we have cited. And the OSP has already commented on that letter, saying that, look, we have not seen any letter. That letter has not been submitted to our office, and we are not in the know in terms of any content that letter will have. But that letter we are seeing has been stamped and signed by the Mayo Clinic, Elton.
All right. So for now, we also do not know whether Mr. Ofori-Atta, ahead of the surgery on June 13, is already in the hospital preparing himself, or he's residing in a residential home, or he's in Hong Kong, he's in UK, he's in Guyana, he's in Cayman Islands. We do not know.
Yeah, but according to the OSP, these are 5 or 6 possible locations where he could be. So they've actually been left in the dark. They simply do not know the exact location of Ken Ofori-Atta. But in terms of, that Interpol red alert, they are saying that he could be in 6 different locations, possible 6 different locations. But what we understand is that the Interpol red notice doesn't just work automatically. I mean, they have to verify and see whether the information being provided by the OSP will not hurt Mr. Ofori-Atta in any way, trying to infringe upon his rights. What we also understand is that there are currently more than 6,500 individuals on the Interpol red notice, and we've been checking every morning. I mean, we've been checking since yesterday and every minute to see if Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta's name will pop up there. But what we can confirm is that in that list of over 6,500, his name is not part of that list yet. But the OSP made it clear yesterday that they've actually initiated processes to actually get his name on that list.
All right, you can tell us what you think of this developing story. We are on X, on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course on myjoyonline.com. Let me bring in Isaac Ofori-Atta. He is president and founder of Patients' Rights Watch Ghana. Mr. Jabo, good time to have you here. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Nothing.
Great. So
thanks for having me.
Great. So you've heard the back and forth. I mean, the OSP is executing its mandates, and the OSP says that I have done my work. I'm looking forward to arrest this man and charge him. The suspect, in this case, the former finance minister, according to a letter that is in circulation from the Mayo Clinic, is set to undergo surgery for a prostate cancer surgery on June 13. The OSP yesterday declared him wanted and a fugitive from justice. From where you sit, what is your reading into what is happening now?
Okay, thank you. I think that before I will produce my view, let me look at the authorities. Now, if you look at Article 19, obviously it indicates fair trial. A fair trial will mean that all the due process must be taken through. So the OSP clearly is doing its job. However, the welfare and the dignity of the patient too is also important. If you look at Article 15, which is a guarantee, against, the person's dignity. So it falls for a delicate balance between the welfare or dignity of the former finance minister and then obviously the OSP, who is desirous of also doing this work. So it calls for a delicate balance.
But, I mean, from where you sit, has the OSP breached any law in terms of the rights of the patient?
Well, if you look at Article 12 of the International Convention on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, of which Ghana is a signatory since 2000, it guarantees the right to health. Health is a fundamental human right. And, when a person is sick, I mean, it's a defense. It's actually a shield against some of these things, provided it's not a sham. And in this case, if there is evidence to the fact that he is indeed sick and it has been programmed or scheduled for surgery, then I think that fairness will require that his welfare and well-being is taken into consideration. Of course, he is at this stage, I understand he is only being a suspect. That means that he is needed to assist with the investigation. He has not been charged yet, if my information is correct. And I think that giving reasonable time, and reasonable time is also a component of fair trial. So the case is that if indeed it's scheduled for surgery, then the reasonable time will, in this case, will mean that the OSP may have to actually pull the brakes and allow him to actually, attend to his life. But after all, if he loses his life, he will no longer be available for the OSP to prosecute.
Listening to the OSP and the frustration that it is facing in getting this matter addressed, and the fact that even, for example, this correspondence that came from the Mayo Clinic, I mean, this came the day after the OSP had declared him wanted. And so the assumption here is that perhaps this is all being used as a cover to avoid accountability.
Well, the law always has a remedy. I mean, the point is that once the Mayo Clinic is a reputable, distinguished medical facility operating in the U.S. jurisdiction, obviously they have produced a document to the effect that their client, in this case the minister is not well and has been scheduled for surgery. I don't think that until we have evidence to the contrary, I don't think anybody has basis whatsoever to think that it's being used as a sham. And the due process will require that, evidence is the name of the game. Once there's evidence to the effect that he is sick, and remember, it's actually an evolving situation. One cannot really put a date or a strict timeline to it. We can only hope and pray that he gets better. Or until such a time that the OSP has reason to believe or has grounds to contrary that sickness in this case is being used as a sham, then I think that if it's being used as a sham, then he knows what to do. But in this case, it appears it is not a sham to the extent that the Mayo Clinic has put this reputation on it.
And then the hospital, the indication on the correspondence is that 13th will be the date set for the surgery. And then his return to Ghana will be dependent on his full recovery. There's no timeline as to when he's supposed to return. So the OSP just fold his arms and wait until Mr. Ofori-Atta is ready to return to Ghana before he can proceed with what has been mandated to do?
Well, sickness is a shield in law. It's not a sword. It's a shield. It's a shield to the extent that it is true, to the extent that there is actually ample evidence to that. There is a shield. I think that even in traditional sense, if a chief is drawing, he takes out the exception there is sickness. So while the person is sick, really, it's a matter of life and death. And I think if the person dies, you lose the person entirely. So it's important that the person's welfare in this matter is also taken into consideration. So I think that if the OSP has evidence to the contrary, that the sickness in this instance is but a sham, it's only being a sham, then that's a topic for a discussion. But otherwise, I think in this case, once there's evidence that he's actually not, then I think that due process will require that we give him that benefit of the doubt.
So maybe you advise for both parties as we move on this particular very important subject.
Well, I think that the OSP, the timeline, he is the one who is setting his order. I think that he has given quite a number of timelines and all have been submitted by development. And I don't think that is the doing of the former finance minister. If what is the evidence we have so far is true, he's not well. And I don't think that his best wish for himself is to recover as soon as possible. So we can only hope that he will really get well and be able to actually stand trial. But until then, I think that it's only fair that we take his welfare and mental health into consideration. Because you see, once you are sick and all this, you are wanted and all this, it all adds up to the mental, stress. And I think that due process will require a special threat will require, which is guaranteed under our Constitution, Article 19. That he's giving the benefit of the doubt to the extent that there is documentary evidence that he's not.
But Mr. Jabo, let me take you through the public statement or the public notice that the OSP issued today on this matter. And it says that the office of the OSP has become aware of publication online media purporting to be a letter from a hospital containing alleged medical report on Mr. Kenneth Ofori-Atta. We wish to place on record that neither Mr. Ofori-Atta nor his lawyers have submitted any such letter to the OSP. The only correspondence received from these legal representatives is a letter notifying the OSP of a change in his medical condition and on their say-so. Now, it is notable that this alleged hospital letter has been circulated through the media rather than submitted to the law enforcement agency actively investigating him and responsible for decision regarding his return to Ghana. To date, it says no certified medical record or official documents from any hospital authority has been submitted to the OSP indicating that Mr. Ofori-Atta is incapacitated or unable to travel to Ghana. Why would they leave the OSP out if this is so important to them?
Well, based on what we've just read, there is also a necessity or duty laid on Mr. Ofori-Atta's legal representative to, as a matter of, agency, to procure the medical report as being circulated and furnish the OSP with it. Once the OSP is served, the OSP then becomes seized with the information. And once you are seized with it, it will require that he balances in a delicate way the welfare of Mr. Ofori-Atta and then his need to also get justice for the state. So I think in this case, it's a hearsay because the OSC has not been officially served with official copies of the medical report or SQDT or whichever way you term it. And until then, probably it's also proceeding on the assumption that it's just a media team or a shenanigan calculated to more or less leave Mr. Ofori-Atta off the hook. But I think that it will also be fair to demand of the legal representatives of Mr. Ofori-Atta to furnish the OSC with the official documentation so that he becomes seized with it and then fairness will require that he is actually restrained and give the benefit of the doubt to Mr. Ofori-Atta.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me bring in the Director of Strategy, Research and Communication at the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Mr. Sammy Darko. Sammy, so it's good to have you. The vibe I'm getting from the former Presidential Advisor on Health, Dr. Nsiasari, and indeed Mr. Jiabo, is that you probably are maybe aware of the health state of Mr. Ofori-Atta and still seeking to carry through your mandates. If you can help us understand what really is going on as far as these matters are concerned.
I think that the problem is partly also the media, your lack of understanding of the issue, and then also the people that you called not having the facts and conjecturing and making wild legal assumptions. It's what made causing the confusion rather than the confusion on the ground. The bottom line, the U.S. is a law enforcement agency and is in need or is in search of suspects. The suspect says that he had urgent surgery to do and that he could come to the Republic. When the suspect was pressed, the suspect then decided that he will give a specific date within which the surgery will take place. And this suspect then sent a letter in which he detailed how his surgery is going to take place. He said that the surgery was going to take place on the 21st and 22nd of March.
Right.
I will take you back. You see, you are in a hurry to move away.
No. So we have all the time.
You are not able to take away. You are not able to move away. So the suspect says that he will do his surgery 21st, 22nd of March. And his doctors say that he will require 1 month to recuperate. So let's do a small mathematics. He does the surgery 21st March, 22nd March, and he needs 1 month to recuperate. Where would the 1 month take you to? Just, we are helping everybody to understand. I need you to help me. He does the surgery 21st, 22nd March, and needs 1 month to recuperate. Where will it take him to?
That'll be April ending.
April ending. What time did the OSP give him to report? 2nd June.
Right.
What it means is that between March 21st, 22nd, all the way to 2nd June is more than 2 months. Now, within these 2 months, this suspect never communicates to the office that he did not do the surgery. Remember, at the first instance, there was no medical report that says that he is so sick that he cannot fly, that if he sits on a plane to Ghana, he's going to die. If he sits in a plane for even 30 minutes, he will die. If he moves from where he is to Ghana, he will die. There was no medical report like that. And yet, within the 2 months that he had and didn't do the operation, he never bothered to come to the law enforcement agency that is looking for him. He is not a person of interest. He is a suspect. That is the mistake so many people are making. They think that he's a person of interest that we just want to speak to on air, through the internet. No, he did not. Now, look at another timeline. He waits till 28th of June, 28th of May, then writes a letter to his lawyers saying that he has an upcoming surgery
on the 13th of June, and so he cannot come. That if the office is minded, he can send us his scan results that shows that he has this particular sickness. And you expect a law enforcement agency worth a salt to sit down and say, yes, we will give you another 1 year. That's why I'm telling you that the lawyers and the people you are calling running commentary, unless they are seized with the facts and think through the facts, sickness is never a bar against reporting to law enforcement unless you are so sick, you are so invalid. We are saying that whether Mayo Clinic has certified or has not certified, if Mayo Clinic has not said that he is so sick that he cannot travel, nothing stops Mr. Ofori-Atta from coming to Ghana and facing the OSP. And then after that, if he has whatever it is, he goes back and continue. Do you know how many people are going to Kolebu every month to go and check on themselves? People are walking around and you don't know whatever they are going through. The only reason you may not be apprehended or you may not have to face a law enforcement is when you are so broken and in bed that you cannot move. But aside that, no other reason can be given to say that you should allow. You are saying that the person has decided not to appear because he had several opportunities not to appear.
Right. If I can just ask, I mean, the public notice that you issued around 11 a.m. today, between that time and now, it remained what it is. No official communication from whatever entity, indicating that there is a scheduled prostate cancer surgery on the 13th of June. That officially you are not aware of, and you are operating with what you have.
It's not about whether we are operating with what we have. It's not about whether there is a letter from Mayo. It's about whether there is certified medical report that says that Mr. Ofori-Atta is incapacitated and unable to travel back to Ghana. This is what you have to understand. And this is what I think Ghanaians understand. They will try and move the post because they've turned it into another propaganda and flooding of water. It's not about whether he has a certified medical report from Mayo or not. It's not about whether Mayo has written a letter addressed to the special prosecutor now telling us about his sickness and why he cannot come to Ghana, and the fact that if he sits in a plane for even 5 minutes, he will die. It's not about those things. What matters is that Mr. Ofori-Atta is able to travel. If he is able to travel, then he is able to appear before the OSP. Whatever medical condition he has, once he appears before the OSP, he will be able to go back and attend to himself and cure himself, just like everybody in Ghana does. There are so many people who are suffering from different ailments, who have to go to abroad for treatment, who have to go to Kolebu for treatment, who have to go to Comfanoche for treatment. But that treatment is not every day. That treatment is not for so many months. They are in between where you go for the treatment. They are in between where you do it. And we are saying that when you've had the chance to do that, then you have to appear. That's all we are saying. So no matter how many lawyers they may drag to be able to drag this matter, all we are saying is that, is there a certified medical report by the medical administrator at Mayo Clinic saying that Mr. Ofori-Atta cannot travel? It's not just a letter saying he has an upcoming surgery. Because remember, there are timelines, there are periods.
Right. Okay. We'll leave it here. Sammy, thank you for the clarity on this matter. Let me allow Council Giabo, your final thoughts on this matter. Right, so we've lost him as well. Sammy Darko, Director of Research Communication at the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Thank you so much for that clarity. Now, this is a matter that is taking a life of its own. The OSP, apart from dealing with the issue relating to the former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, also updated the nation on some investigations or some cases that are before the OSP. And according to Mr. Kisiya Yabem, the office is set to file criminal charges by the end of June against some senior officials of the National Petroleum Authority and oil marketing companies. some of your marketing companies. Now, the charges relates to an alleged 1.3 billion city corruption scheme that reportedly took place between 2022 and 2024. The investigation launched in February 2025 also implicates former MPA CEO Mr. Ahmed in an embezzlement of funds from the Unified Petroleum Pricing Fund. According to Special Prosecutor Akise Jabem, investigators have identified properties believed to have been acquired with the stolen funds.
The OSP investigation has revealed that between 2022 and 2024, some high-ranking and other officials of NPA devised and implemented a corrupt scheme of using public office for profit through threats, intimidation, coercion, suggestions, bribery, and inordinate regulatory duress to obtain for their personal benefit large sums of money from oil marketing companies and other entities under their statutory regulatory, licensing, oversight, and monitoring mandates in the petroleum downstream industry. As at the close of business on 30 May 2025, the OSP had uncovered, through tracing and trailing, an amount of 280,516,127 cedis and 19 pesos, being proceeds of the corrupt scheme, some of which has been used by the perpetrators to acquire identified and traced apartments, suites, houses in country and abroad, 22 fuel haulage trucks, and the incorporation, acquisition, and operation of oil marketing companies to compete with the oil marketing companies they were regulating. The OSP, before the end of June, would file criminal charges against the first batch of the perpetrators and complicit oil marketing companies and their officials. Upon filing, we will brief you in detail in respect of who did what, who acquired what, and what has been recovered.
And of course, by the end of June, we'll get to know exactly the questions that the OSP himself is saying, who did what and who is involved in what. But let me bring in Mr. Vitus Azim, is an anti-corruption campaigner. The OSP is a specialized office responsible for the fight against corruption, fighting corruption, corruption-related matters. Mr. Azim, so you heard Mr. Kisia Ajabini yesterday. Clearly, the fight against corruption is not lost on us yet, at least with what the OSP is doing relating to the matters that he presented to the nation yesterday.
No, I don't think that the fight against corruption is lost on us. The special prosecutor is doing his part. There are other institutions that are also doing their part. But of course, you know, corruption is a very complex phenomenon. And fighting it is not that easy. And besides, it involves several other institutions, like the police investigation, like the judiciary having to prosecute if the need comes, or if the need arises. So, whether the fact that the Office of Special Prosecutor has not been able to meet the expectations of many Ghanaians does not mean that we have lost the fight against corruption or that we don't need the Office of Special Prosecutor.
I mean, I don't know whether you have any talks on the matters around the former finance minister before I ask of opinion on the MPA and the recovery done so far.
I don't get that.
I was asking whether you have any talks on the office around the former finance minister Ofori-Atta and how the office is going about it before I go into other matters.
I don't have any problem with it. I think that the special prosecutor is doing his part. See, I don't know how long it takes for them to schedule the surgery. I think it was in February that he was first invited, and they said he was outside and having to go for surgery. For 3 months, that surgery has not been done, and now he's asking for another extension. And I think that the special prosecutor also has, as an investigator, has his ways of carrying out his investigations. He needed enough early information from Mr. Ofori-Atta before deciding whether to give the extension or not. And I think that information never came on a timely basis. And the special prosecutor can use his discretion to agree to extend the his invitation or not. Depending on the facts that he has on his hands. So that's how I look at it.
And then we are waiting to actually learn of who the OSP will take to court and the matter relating to the MPA. And even before that is done, the revelation is quite, serious to the extent that in terms of the tracing of properties or property that this, this sum have been used to, both property, both Ghana and abroad, oil tankers, about 22 of them, 280.5 million Ghana cedis recovered so far. The over $1 billion still outstanding, and the OSP says I'm going to court at the end of June. These obviously are public servants to the extent that this went on, and then it's taking the OSP to unravel this. Clearly, it tells a lot of what is happening in some of our public institutions.
It definitely says a lot. But the good thing is that the fact that it is being unraveled by a state institution, that alone would put the fear of God in a lot of them. And some of them will now be restrained from engaging in such acts in the future. So even whether we are able to recover money or not, whether we are able to imprison people or not, the fact that the special prosecutor has been able to uncover these things, even like I've been saying, if you sit on TV and you see your name, your wife and children sitting there and they see your name being put on TV that you are engaged in some acts of corruption, that alone is something that would put some fear in those who intend to go down such a line in the future. And so I don't think that we should just say that, we've lost the fight against corruption, or that we don't need officers. We need them to help us.
All right.
Even civil society, people say, civil society, what are you doing? But the existence of civil society helps to curb corruption to some extent, even though it doesn't solve the entire problem.
We'll leave it here for now. Mr. Vice Azim, thank you so much for your contribution to this topic. As we end this part, this segment on the show, the pause is brought to you by Defend Drill, cough expectorant, it clears chest congestion, smoothing cough and fight a common cold, helping you breathe easy and feel better. Defend Drill is available in all pharmacies and OTCs across Ghana, but not recommended for children under 6 years. For bulk purchase, please visit Rapid Improvement Pharmaceuticals. They are on the Spinters Road, next Royal House Chapel, or contact them on 053-666-1432. That's 053-666-1432. Defend Drill, breathe easy, feel better. When we return, we'll talk about health. Stay put. So welcome back to the pulse here on Joy News. Now let's turn our attention to health. And 26 new cases of Mpox have been confirmed in Ghana, bringing the total number of recorded infections to 45 since the outbreak began. Now, the Ghana Health Service, in its update, has explained that the surge is due to enhanced surveillance, active contact tracing, and increased public awareness. Key elements the service says are helping to promptly identify and isolate infections within the communities. Now, let me bring you details of that statement that came from the Ghana Health Service on this matter. So, the confirmed cases, as you have it, 26 of Mpox confirmed cases in Ghana at the moment. And so the total is 45 since the outbreak here in Ghana, 45 cases in all. And fortunately for us, or the good news is that we are yet to record any death from Mpox. The recorded deaths, 0. So everybody, all the 45, some recovered, some going through treatment, but nobody has succumbed to the virus. Currently, as we speak, out of the 45 confirmed cases, only 2 people are on admission. And so that is the latest on Mpox cases as we have them in Ghana. We can talk more about now. Let's talk about, let's stay in the health sector, because our interest is not to stay out of work, but to continue serving the people of Ghana. This is the call of the Bono Ahafo chairperson of the Ghana Registered Nurses Midwives Association, Kingsley Osei Safo, to the government. Mr. Safo wants government to avert the escalation of the agitation leading to industrial action by signing and implementing the agreed conditions of service from July 2024. Precious Semebo has more.
International Nurses Day celebration in the Brong-Ahafo region at Sunyani Sufufu allowed healthcare givers to deliberate on welfare issues and build capacity to improve the quality of healthcare delivery. The celebration on the theme Our Nurses and Midwives Are Future, Caring for Nurses and Midwives Strengthens Economies, also saw the remembrance of the work of Florence Nightingale with a candlelight procession. Brong-Ahafo chairperson of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Kingsley Osesafo, bemoaned the poor working conditions fueling agitations on low payment, accommodation, and lack of equipment and infrastructure, which he said negatively impacts healthcare services.
One aspect is our remuneration. We realize that financially nurses struggle and we have to be going for loans to survive. If this one stakeholders pay attention to it, we will be able to be financially stable, and that will help us to provide the best of nursing care. One area is about accommodation. We therefore call on stakeholders to make accommodations available to help the individual to be able to provide services as and when needed.
He called on the government to implement the agreed conditions of service to avert industrial actions.
These are documents that have already been discussed and agreed and signed. It is just left with implementation. And then because of that, leaders put out this roadmap that starts from 2nd, that is Monday, 2nd June. And 2nd and 3rd, we have to put on red bands. 4th to 8th, we have to withdraw OPD services, and then from 9th, we will withdraw all services. We want to call on our employer that our interest is not to stay away from work. We want to continue to serve the people of Ghana. And therefore, they should come in, call our leaders to table, and then complete this signing of the condition of service. I'm therefore taking this opportunity to call on the nurses and midwives within the Bono East and then the Ahafo regions that the Brong-Ahafo GRNMA stands behind our leadership.
Mrs. Christiana Esiankra, Regional Chief Nursing and Midwifery Officer, entreated government to prioritize the sector for efficient healthcare.
I will entreat the Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service to adopt a multifaceted approach that will prioritize the well-being and empowerment of nurses and midwives by investing in education and training programs that will enhance leadership and innovation, as well as advocating for policies that will recognize the value and worth of nursing and midwifery services.
Deserving nurses and midwives were awarded, with Senior Midwifery Officer Mary Champoma of St. Theresa's Catholic Hospital at Nkranza South named the overall best for 2025 in the Brong-Ahafo region. Precious Semevo, Joy News, Sunyani.
Well, meanwhile, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association is rolling out the next phase of the strike, withdrawing all outpatient services across country beginning tomorrow. We are joined by the General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, David Tinkran, to share more light on this matter. Mr. Tinkran, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. So refresh our minds of those who are hearing you for the very first time. Why are you embarking on this action in the first place?
All right. Good evening to your viewers. I don't want to belabor this point. I think it's something we've said copiously. The reason is very simple. We negotiated our condition of service. It was signed, sealed, and delivered, but it is not seeing implementation. And all what we are asking the Ministry of Finance to do is to approve the signed condition of service for implementation.
The minister yesterday in a tweet on the official X page of the ministry says that he is operating an open door policy, meaning you should come, sit down and let them have a discussion instead of taking this hard line. Discussion on what?
We've negotiated. Our condition of service is not open for renegotiations, and that is perhaps what he's seeking to advance. Our case is very simple. We are saying that it's already been negotiated. All what he needs to do is to just approve for Controller Accountant General and the sector ministry to implement same. There is no need to go there and sit down and do what with it.
Perhaps, I'm not holding brief for him, but perhaps because the government is new, that may be the reason why he's saying that, we've inherited this. Why don't we have a sit down to talk?
Okay, so I'm a union leader, and oftentimes I wouldn't want to subscribe to that notion of government. We deal with employer. The employer is the same. Government may change, but the employer is the same. Ministry of Health hasn't changed. Okay, but government has changed hands. It doesn't mean that whatever discussion or conversation or agreement that was reached with the previous or with the employer should be curtailed. Okay, I think that we have had enough patience for this administration, and I think they should avert their minds to our demands. They are not elastic. Okay, right. They are inelastic demands. These are demands that can easily be met, and I don't see why they should drag this. I have said that there's no need to see to the demise of any Ghanaian. All right, we are ready to work and protect our people, even during COVID. All right, we stood solidly and we provided essential service. It tells you that we will break our back and bring smiles in the face of Ghanaians. But you see, if there is any time that the employer should reward nurses and midwives, it's now. Don't forget the number of nurses and midwives that have left this country for the past a few years. Okay, those who are remaining are sacrificed. They can also travel. There's no ban on them not to travel. But the thing that all of us cannot leave, we need to remain in Ghana to build Ghana together. And if people want all of us to put our shoulders to the wheel to propel the development of this country forward, they must do the needful. I mean, we have a myriad of challenges, but we just want to, drop this for now and later we'll move on to other things. But I can tell you that the nursing and midwifery profession is being looked down by successive administrations, and we don't want to accept that kind of thing going forward. I think that they should do the needful and let us move on with our lives.
Mr. Tinko, I'm curious to know, in the absence of the implementation of this set of conditions of service, how it is affecting your work and service delivery?
Precisely. See, the nurses are overburdened, okay, in terms of what I indicated, that people have left the country. The few who are staying are working on a tightrope. Again, they go to the market, okay, and inflation has virtually eroded all the gains that we made. I mean, during the, if you like, the salary increment, and therefore there is everything proper. It's fair and proper that the government implement this condition of service so that they can be shored up a bit to be able to buy or meet the economic demands of our time.
So beginning tomorrow, no OPD services?
Precisely. We've tightened the roadmap a bit. Tomorrow we're going to withdraw OPD and emergency services. Initially, emergency services was not part. But looking at the intransigent posturing of the employer, we think that we need to send some signal, all right? They are not averting their minds to our demands. They are eventually putting in, old-fashioned methods of intimidation and, trying to break our front and all that. Look, let me tell them, we've been at this for a very long time.
Is that what is happening? Is that what is happening?
Absolutely. If you have listened to the spokesperson of the Ministry of Health, I mean, they are putting in measures. They've called our colleagues, our brothers and sisters who are not part of this strike to stand in. Let me tell you something funny. Most of our brothers were the first to even put on the red band. Those that they think will stand in for them are the very first people who put on the red bands. And I can tell you that they will defy their leaders because they know that this is about their economic interest. When you go to the bank, you don't go there as Union A or Union B. When you go on retirement after 39 years, 38 years of working tirelessly and dedicating your life to this profession, you won't go home as a group. You go home as an individual. And these distinguished nurses and midwives are thinking about their future instead of being aligned to one union or the other. So, no, they shouldn't delude themselves. They should wait. Tomorrow will be the test for all of us to know whether... and they will trivialize this. One out of the 5 nursing unions. Let me tell you something. If you go to hospital and you meet 4 nurses, 3 are our members.
Okay.
We have almost 128,000 nurses and midwives in Ghana.
128,000.
128,000 nurses and midwives. Our membership stands at 96,000. All right. So it tells you that 3/4 of all nurses and midwives in Ghana are members. All right. If one person says that I don't want to follow the roadmap that has been laid out, it's troubling because they should recognize that this fight is for all of us. Okay. So what I'm trying to let you understand is that the nurses and midwives will certainly defy the orders that were given by their leaders because it So not serve their economic interests.
Right.
And they've made it that clear through the wearing of red bands. Move to any facility, whether you won't find all the nurses wearing red bands. Where if you go to a facility, you will see a UPNM nurse or a GRNM nurse. They work together and they are friends, okay? And therefore, they know that what they are doing will serve their economic interests and it inure to the benefit of all of them. So I think that the government should rather have its minds to satisfying our demands rather than trying to put in these old-fashioned imperial communist statistics in trying to divide our ranks and force people into coercion. No, that will not happen.
All right. So for example, if you say you are withdrawing emergency services, and I'm listening, I'm coming to the hospital tomorrow, what services will I not have access to when you say emergency services are withdrawn?
Okay, so OPD services and emergency services are going to be withdrawn from tomorrow. So what it means is that if you rush to a hospital with an emergency case, you will not be seen. If you maybe you have headache, you have abdominal pain, you are having a diarrhea, you want to move to the OPD to be seen by a nurse before perhaps you move into the consultation, you will not meet any nurse over there, all right, to provide those services to you before you see the medical officer. So, yes, for instance, antenatal care services will be completely removed. As I said, you go to hospital, you pick a card, you need to see a nurse to write your history before you are ushered into a consultation room. That type of services will not be given. If you come with emergency, you have to be triaged. Some of these advanced hospitals have triaging areas where perhaps based on the seriousness of your condition, you could be triaged as green, yellow, or red so that proper attention can be given to you. You won't find them there.
Wow. That's a lot to chew. And I'm sure that this is going to put stress on our hospital, especially if nurses are out, meaning the doctors will be left without the support that they require from some of these nurses. But let me bring in Mr. Tony Goodman. He's a public relations officer with the Ministry of Health. Mr. Goodman, good to hear your voice again. It's been a while. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Good evening. Hope you are doing well.
I'm good. And you're also you're hearing from Mr. Tenkran, who's General Secretary of Ghana Nurse and Midwives Association. He says that beginning tomorrow, no OPD services, no emergency care. This is how far they are willing to go to have the implementation of the agreed set of conditions for the professionals.
Yes, good evening to our listeners. That's unfortunate. We are not happy with that decision. We have asked them to rescind that decision so that we can have some further discussion before whether or not they want to go, they take that decision. But they have decided to go. So we, as an institution, we cannot also sit aloof without doing anything. We've put in place some mitigating measures. We are not saying that is what would actually resolve the matter. We are not saying that measure we have taken is a solution to their problem. However, we believe that it's important for us to take care of the lives that may be lost at the end of the day. That is why we have put in place this measure. If they are mindful of the fact that their action would lead to loss of life, then they should come to the table and continue working. You have a minister who has not seen a document, who has not perused together with you a document, and say, well, let's have time. Give me some few months for me to look at this document together with my colleague at Ministry of Finance. I believe it's fair for you to just say, okay, I'm giving you this period, I'm giving you this day or that. Just to declare a strike on a minister who is in the office for barely 4 or 5 months. I'm not sure we are being fair.
No, but they say that implement it. I mean, you inherited everything. And how many months more do you need before you get it implemented?
Yes, we can say that we are implementing. However, we in the health sector are aware that we have about 90 professional bodies. We can decide to implement or sign this document, and tomorrow we'll have issue. The document has not been signed to. That is what we have to also, that is a distinction we need to make.
The document has not been what? The document has not been signed?
Yes, after the negotiation, it's not been signed.
But by who exactly?
If it's been signed,
parties?
we would have started the implementation. If it's been signed, or it was signed, we would have started the implementation.
the Minister for Finance and the Minister for Health must sign before this document can be called or can be implemented. So that is where we are.
The current Minister for Finance and Health?
Yes, please.
So does it mean that because it's not been signed, your assumption is that finality has not been brought on it?
No, finality has not been brought on this matter. That is why we are where we are. They are asking Ministry of Finance to sign the letter and then start implementing. Immediately it's signed, it means that you have to implement.
Right.
So the matter is actually not even with the Ministry of Health. But as the employer, we have to step in to make sure that we provide some mitigating measure so that we don't lose life because we are at the negotiating table. So that is what is currently happening.
Meaning, basically, you cannot work with a good document that has not been signed.
Yes, for us, we cannot work with this document. We will have to wait for the Ministry of Finance to pen its signature. Then we take it out from there. Don't also forget that this document will not only be implemented by the Ministry of Health alone, but some of its agencies. A hospital in Bukurugu would have to cough some money for its workers because there is a portion that says that you need to pay 13th month to your staff. There are portions that says they need to give food to your staff. These will come from the facility. We need to disseminate this document and make sure that people are aware of what we have signed up to.
Mr. Senkran, Mr. Goodman says that the document has not been signed. A document that has not been signed cannot be said to be valid.
That is not correct. Tony Goodman, I don't know why you are doing this to yourself and the ministry. Look, the document has been signed by the employer, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, and the union. What is left is approval from the Minister for Finance. So, Tony, why are you doing this? You and I met. So the 5 times that your release indicated that you met us, what document was the ministry meeting us on? If you tell me that the minister hasn't perused it up to today, you see the intransigent posturing that I'm talking to you about. Don't play politics and propaganda with the lives of Ghanaians, okay? The document was signed, sealed, and delivered. What it is left is for approval from the finance ministry. And it's been sitting on the desk of the Minister for Finance. If it had not been signed, why would it be on the desk of the Minister for Finance? So, Tony, please, if you are not very much on top of the facts, don't throw dust in the eyes of Ghanaians. I don't want to sound some way because I can't understand why you should do this to the good people of Ghana. My brother, the document was signed in May 2024 by the sector ministry, by Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Look, you can send your people to Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to go and do the checks, whether that document was not signed. We finished the negotiations. We started around February and finished it in May and signed it off.
So, Mr. Tinkram, then basically, it may be a responsibility of the finance minister now to move this on.
Precisely. All what the finance minister needs to do is to approve it. Listen, recently, the finance minister approved that of the Senior Staff Association of the various universities. They had negotiated the thing, and then all what he needed to do was to approve it, and that is what we are asking for. So, Tony Goodman, I'm saying that you are not on top of the facts. The fact still remains that the document was signed, delivered in May 2023. All right, and all what is left is for the Ministry of Finance to approve it for implementation.
So therefore,
if you are not very much conversant with it, please don't throw dust in the eyes of Ghanaians. And that is why I think that you are doing propaganda with the lives of Ghanaians. Let us be careful. Let us be careful in this country. We have the mandate to govern. Let's do what is expected of us. I cannot take this.
But Mr.
Tinkran, you are very much aware.
Mr. Tinkran, if the finance minister is yet to act on it, I mean, isn't the health minister right when he says that give me a month or two for me to fix this?
They couldn't even give us timelines. And that is troubling because when we go there, all the 5 sittings that we had, we were asking for timelines. And they can't even tell you that, oh, give me 1 month, give me 2 weeks. My brother, they are not prepared to sign the document or, if you like, approve the document. They are just dilly-dallying with that. And you see, they are triumphing in the fact that maybe some of the groups are saying no. I'm saying that they are members. are not in tandem with their decision. And you'll be surprised. So you should wait. Let's start from tomorrow.
So the only thing that will change your mind is to see the full implementation of these conditions of service.
Listen, implementation takes a process. We are very reasonable people. This is not the first time. I've been at this for almost 24 years. When condition of service is signed by the sector ministry, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, okay, and then the union, it goes to Ministry of Finance, and the Ministry of Finance will give approval to controller and the sector ministry to do the payments. Okay. Most of the monetary aspects of this condition of service will be borne by ministry, or borne by controller and accountant general.
Right.
So I don't know why Tony Goodman is doing this. It's sad. I mean, my brother. I mean, you know we are friends. I don't know why you are doing this to the good people of Ghana. Okay, you can't beat me to propaganda. I'm telling you. All right, it's not fair.
Mr. Goodman, is it what it is? And I'm wondering.
I'm sure what I just said is what the gentleman has also said. I said the document has not been signed by the Ministry of Finance. What is implementation if it's not signed? It's not the same thing. I'm surprised the way it's taken, but I'm saying that we would only receive a signed document from the Ministry of Finance. That has not been done, which means that the Ministry of Finance has not signed up to the document. Is it different from what he is saying that they should implement? I'm sure we are saying the same thing. It's not been signed. That is where we are on this matter. And we're only asking them to go back to work while we follow through this document for them. We're only asking them to just go to work while the two ministers look at this matter and resolve it for the benefit of the people of this country.
Okay. But my final question to Mr. Goodman. So in the event that the OPD services are withdrawn together with emergency services, what is the ministry's plan of action to address the difficulty the absence will create in the various hospitals across the country?
So we have 6 groups, 6 nursing groups who are actually in this matter. We have one of them, which is a GRNMA, going on strike, and we have gotten indication from the rest of the 5 who said they are not going to embark on this demonstration or this strike. We have asked, because we got indication from most of them that they were being threatened by GRNMA members. We have asked that the National Ghana Police Service will provide some security for them to work. We are also asking that those who are on rotation clinicals would be at post and continue working while the DDNS and then the Director of Nursing supervises their work. We've asked that National Ambulance Service will be on board to assist where necessary to refer people from one place to the other. We would make sure that logistic support is also given to hospitals where they need these support. We want the various hospitals to give us a daily report on what is going to happen. As I speak to you, I'm currently at the Labour Commission on this same matter.
Right.
So which means that it's not as though we have gone to sleep. Whilst we are engaging, we want to make sure that we put in place these measures to avert any loss of life.
Thank you so much, Mr. Goodman. Mr. Tenkran, looks like government has its own plans working already.
Absolutely. You know, that's what I told you about, that they think that they can use these old-fashioned methods to derail our progress. It shows clearly that they don't put premium on the life of the good people of Ghana, and they don't respect the nurses and midwives in Ghana. And we'll show them where power lies.
All right. David Tenkran is General Secretary of Ghana, Nurses and Midwives Association of Ghana. And they say that they are withdrawing all OPD and emergency cases beginning tomorrow because of the stalled implementation of their conditions of service agreed with government somewhere last year. And according to the Ministry of Health, it is up to the Finance Minister to sign off on this so that implementation can start. We are keeping an eye on this matter. We've got some hours. Maybe government can be able to intervene and get this matter resolved early so that we can protect lives at the various hospitals. Now let's talk about President Mahama, because he's revealed that he's held discussions with the Finance Minister and the Governor of Bank of Ghana regarding the performance of the cedi. According to him, he believes the real value of the cedi lies between 10 and 12 to the US dollar. Speaking during a visit by the Federation of Ghanaian Exporters, he explained that such a range will help encourage exports whilst preventing imports from becoming so cheap that they could flood the Ghanaian market.
The economy is responding quite positively to the budget, and you can see it in the appreciation of the cedi, the reduction in the deficit, and general macroeconomic stability, return of investor confidence, and all that. And so I can assure you that in managing the economy together with the Minister of Finance, the Governor of the Bank, you can count on us to make sure that we manage the economy properly. Because if we don't, it affects your businesses. When the economy goes out of gear, it affects your businesses directly. And so I can assure you that we will continue to prudently manage the economy so that you have a predictable environment in which you can make investments, knowing that your return on investments would keep your businesses going. The recent appreciation in the value of the cedi is one that we have kept watching. As the cedi started to strengthen and the dollar depreciated, with our A-level economics, we all know that it's a balance between imports and exports. What it means is that it makes your imports cheaper and your exports more expensive. And so there must be a fair balance to try and achieve the true value of the cedi. Some people say, oh, it will come down to 4. But of course, we know the true value of the cedi is not 4. And if it went as far down as 4, it will kill all your export businesses. And so myself, the governor, and the finance minister met and discussed it. And they think that the real value of the cedi is anywhere between 10 and 12. Luckily, the Forex auction has brought it to just above 10, and it appears to have stabilized there. So I think that going forward, anything between 10, 11, and 12 as a band where the cedi operates will be a fair value, both to encourage our exports, but at the same time not make imports so cheap that importers will flood our markets with toothpicks and biscuits and coconut and all those kinds of things. And so it's a challenge to our exporters to take advantage of the cedi's appreciation, because then the advantage you also have is raw materials can be cheaper. Fuel has gone down, so transporting your products and all that will be cheaper. Port charges will go down. And so it has incentives for you. And at the same time, it has incentives for importers. But I'm asking the importers not to take advantage of it and flood us with all the, Nkatia burger and things that they bring from other countries. Let's try on the import side to import substitutes and produce as many of the products that we bring from outside. Let's produce them here. And at the same time, let's produce more products that people demand outside so that we have a better balance in terms of our economic growth.
Well, the president of the Federation of Ghanaian Exporters, Davis Kobo, commended government for the recent appreciation of the cedi against the major trading currencies. He knows that with continued collaboration and increased export volumes, the country can sustain the stability of the cedi and achieve broader macroeconomic gains.
At this point, I'd like to commend Your Excellency and the government for the appreciation of the cedi against major trading currencies. If we work together, His Excellency, and drive our exports, we can sustain and stabilize the cedi and drive macroeconomic gains. The opportunity before us is limitless. With your administration visionary policies, particularly the 24-Hour Economy Initiative, the Agriculture for Economic Transformation, and the Big Push project, combined with strategic infrastructure investment and our sector's proven capabilities and commitment to excellence, we can transform Ghana's agricultural landscape and establish our nation as a continent premier agricultural export hub. We must treat Ghana as a large agro-industrial enclave and apply industrial ecology principles to create maximum value. Though through proper product and raw material mapping, life cycle assessment of products and value chains, the strategic industrial linkages, we can build a robust, competitive agricultural and export sector that serves both domestic and international markets effectively.
Well, let's see a little longer on the economy because the Finance Minister, Dr. Ofori-Atta, has been updating Parliament on the state of the Ghanaian economy.
This House, I'm fully aware of the considerable interest that honorable members attach to this important subject, which lies at the heart of the fiscal decentralization. First and foremost, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to colleagues for their continued cooperation. Right Honorable Speaker, I'll begin today's brief with the District Assembly's Common Fund, the DACF. Mr. Speaker, our effort is driven by President Mahama's unwavering commitment to decentralization development, as articulated in Chapter 20 of the 1992 Constitution. It is well established that metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies have gone through severe financial strain over the past 8 years due to the unfortunate re-centralization of district assemblies' common fund. Mr. Speaker, it is evident that decisions taken in recent years have regrettably undermined the capacity of MMDAs to respond effectively to the pressing needs of our people at the local level. Right Honorable Speaker, in the past 8 years, a paltry 40% to 50% of transfers to the common fund were disbursed directly to the district assemblies, thereby denying MMDAs the ability to spur local economic development. Mr. Speaker, the government under President John Mahama is resolute in its determination to reverse this trend. We are committed to adequately resource MMDAs and ensure that effective and accountable utilization of these resources are maintained at all times. In line with our promise to revitalize the local economy, President Mahama's administration has prioritized improving financial strength of the district assemblies. I wish to commend members of this House for endorsing, as part of the 2025 budget, government proposal to ensure that a minimum of 80% of allocated district assembly common fund resources are transferred directly to MMDAs. Mr. Speaker, without a doubt, this measure will empower assemblies to drive economic growth at the local level and deepen the process of decentralization. Right Honorable Speaker, through this policy initiative, government is guaranteeing that approximately 6.1 billion Ghana cedis of the 7.57 billion Ghana cedis earmarked for the year 2025 will be disbursed directly to local assemblies to spur local economic activities at the district level. Mr. Speaker, in view of that, every district assembly will receive a minimum of 25 million Ghana cedis this year. A minimum of 25 million Ghana cedis this year. Mr. Speaker, our resource extends beyond mere release of funds. We have taken decisive steps to ensure that these resources are utilized in line with government economic objectives. Mr. Speaker, as I say...
And as the Finance Minister, Dr. Ofori-Atta, updating the MPs on the District Assembly's Common Fund, which has been arrears, and what the government is doing to pay back the money owed the assemblies. Now, let's talk about something that happened 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, after fire and flood claimed more than 150 lives at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, residents in the area say they still live in fear. Some survivors say the June 3rd, 2015 trauma remains fresh, and little has been done by authorities to prevent a recurrence. According to them, poor drainage, indiscriminate dumping of waste, and the absence of a concrete disaster management plan continue to threaten lives, raising concerns about whether the country has truly learned from the tragedy. Joy News visited the disaster scene and interacted with some survivors.
This is Circle. Now, I want you to roll back the clock 10 years. This same spot on the 3rd of June at about 8:30 p.m. was covered in water. Everywhere you look, there was water up to your neck. This explosion changed the face of Accra forever. That night, over 170 people lost their lives. But it's not just lives that were changed. Livelihoods were affected. People to this day talk about the effects of the explosion on their businesses and their livelihoods. And today, 10 years later, we have the opportunity to find out from the residents of Circle what has changed, how their lives have been affected since the explosion, and whether or not they feel safe when thunder strikes and rain starts to pour. We're going to start with Ben. Uncle Ben was here on the night. He barely survived the explosion.
Well, that day, it was exactly 10 years now. So I was working during the night when the water started coming from the back. So this place got flooded. As I'm talking to you, standing here, the water was on my waist. And then in there, around my neck. So I have to remove the regulator from the cylinder. We're using the cylinder, the red one, the big one too. So even the fridge, the water even removed everything. So day in, day out, so the petrol was burning my thighs. So I have to climb this pillar to the lintel. So people followed me there. So all of a sudden, I have to remove my trousers to let fresh air to pass around me. So
your skin was burning?
Yes. So all of a sudden, I saw the weather made reddish. So I have to walk to the other side where the blue signboard is. So I saw the fire coming like a snake. So I have to run, inform the people, and then jump from up here to here. My fellow mom, brother, uncles, everybody lying. One was lying here, three were lying here. When you go down there, it wasn't easy.
Dead people?
Yes. But what pains me a lot, the little baby on the mother, that really hurts me a lot.
Wait.
It started around 3-4 days, and then the water started increasing, the level of the water, quietly and then slowly. It was a terrifying moment that day. It was really terrifying. I saw a lot. Even some were at the entrance here. They were lying on the entrance. So we were identifying them with their ID card in their pockets. So when we set them, after the water has drained, then we set the bodies, and then we get to know who they are by their ID cards in their wallets and then in their pockets. Yeah. So
give me an estimate about how many bodies did you see?
I would say here, about, let's say 10. But there were more at the filling station. Yeah, in this area, for instance, I know somewhere else or other places when it's raining, especially in the night, you feel good. That is where you have to enjoy your sleep, you see. But here, when the moment it gets cloudy, then you begin to, you don't feel good. How much more raining, you see? When it rains heavily, it's still flat. Nothing has changed. And I don't know what the government is trying to do, or maybe individually we are trying to do about this area, particularly when it rains. I don't know.
Within 2-3 seconds, then the fire ran quickly, shimmed through here, and also passed to our area here. And God's will being good. When he reached this very gate, he stopped. But he went to the back there and came to the house. As you are seeming to, you don't know where to go. So my boys, 3 of them were going. And luckily, 3 Ghana people, they were swimmers. They were managing to rescue the boys for me. I don't think somebody will forget this thing and say, oh, now we have become used to it. Never. When you see a sign that it's wanted to rain, our BP goes up. Our temperature goes up.
Of course, it's 10 years, and I remember that they had to walk through piles of dead bodies between 8:30 a.m. till the morning of the next day, and it was quite a traumatic experience. But we pray that never again should we go through such an experience. Now, that's our show. For more stories, log on to our website, myjoyonline.com. Here on the post, we've got Wontumi visit MPP head office after release, and then OSP dismisses purported medical reports on Ofori-Atta, denies receiving any official documents. OSP is a waste of public funds. Who is saying that? Japan. You can click on the story and read more on this matter. Folks, whatever you are up to in the hours ahead, I hope it's profitable. Until tomorrow, we shall be here with another exciting edition of The Pulse. Good evening and have a good night. My name is Elton Robbie.